It was one of those cold mornings that makes everything feel heavier than it should. The kind of morning where people keep their heads down, coffee in hand, rushing past each other like strangers in a world too busy to care. And on that morning, a small, simple act of kindness changed not just one life, but many. Because sometimes, the smallest gesture doesn't just help in the moment, it travels. It moves quietly from one person to another, growing stronger, touching hearts you may never even meet. And by the time it comes back around, it can change everything. Before we begin, if stories like this touch your heart, don't forget to subscribe, like, and share your thoughts in the comments. It really helps the channel grow and spread more meaningful stories like this. Now let's begin. Michael sat alone in his car outside a small diner on the edge of town. His hands rested on the steering wheel, but he wasn't going anywhere. He had just lost his job the day before, and the weight of it pressed heavily on his chest. Bills were piling up. His savings were almost gone, and the thought of telling his wife and daughter, it scared him more than anything. He looked up at the diner. The sign flickered slightly, and inside, a few people sat quietly, sipping coffee and eating breakfast. Life was moving on, like nothing had changed. But everything had changed for him. After a deep breath, Michael stepped out of the car and walked inside. The warmth hit him immediately. The smell of fresh coffee and pancakes filled the air. It reminded him of better days, weekend breakfasts with his family, laughter, simple happiness. He took a seat at the counter. A waitress, probably in her late 50s, approached him with a gentle smile. Her name tag read, Linda. "Morning, honey. What can I get you?" she asked kindly. Michael hesitated. He didn't have much money left, and every dollar mattered now. "Just a coffee," he said quietly. Linda studied his face for a moment. Years of experience had taught her how to read people. She saw the tired eyes, the worry, the silence behind his words. "Coffee coming right up," she said softly. As she walked away, Michael stared down at his hands. He felt embarrassed, small, like life had somehow left him behind. A few minutes later, Linda returned. She placed a steaming cup of coffee in front of him, along with a plate of eggs, toast, and bacon. Michael looked up, confused. "I didn't order this." Linda gave a small smile. "It's on the house." He shook his head quickly. "No, I can't." "Yes, you can," she said gently, placing a hand on the counter. "Sometimes we all need a little help. No strings attached." Michael felt something shift inside him. It wasn't just the food, it was the kindness. The way she said it, like it was the most normal thing in the world. "Thank you," he whispered. He ate slowly, each bite bringing a strange mix of comfort and emotion. For the first time since yesterday, he didn't feel completely alone. Before leaving, he reached into his wallet and pulled out a few dollars, almost everything he had left, and placed it on the counter. "For the coffee," he said. Linda noticed the small amount but didn't say anything. Instead, she smiled and said, "Take care of yourself, all right?" Michael nodded and walked out. But as he stepped back into the cold air, something had changed. That simple act of kindness had lit a small spark inside him, a reminder that even in hard times, there was still good in the world. Later that day, Michael stopped at a gas station. As he stood in line to pay, he noticed a young woman ahead of him struggling with her card. "I'm sorry," she said to the cashier, her voice shaky. "It's not going through." She looked embarrassed, glancing at the small bag of groceries she was trying to buy, just essentials. Bread, milk, a few canned items. Without thinking too much, Michael stepped forward. "I've got it," he said. The woman turned, surprised. "No, you don't have to." "It's okay," Michael said with a small smile. "Really?" He paid for her groceries. The woman's eyes filled with tears. "Thank you. You have no idea how much this helps." Michael shrugged lightly. "Someone helped me this morning. Just passing it on." She nodded, clearly moved. As Michael walked out of the store, he realized something powerful. He didn't have much, but he still had enough to make a difference. And that felt like something worth holding on to. Days turned into weeks. Michael found small jobs here and there, trying to stay afloat. Life was still tough, but he carried that moment with Linda, and the ripple it created, with him everywhere. One afternoon, he sat in a park, watching his daughter play on the swings. Her laughter filled the air, light and carefree. Nearby, an elderly man struggled to carry a heavy bag. Without hesitation, Michael stood up and walked over. "Need a hand?" he asked. The man smiled gratefully. "That would be wonderful." They walked together, talking along the way. The man, whose name was Robert, shared stories about his life, his late wife, his children who lived far away, the quiet loneliness he often felt. Michael listened. Sometimes, kindness isn't about money or grand gestures. Sometimes, it's just about being there. Before they parted ways, Robert said, "Thank you. Not just for helping, but for listening." Michael smiled. "Anytime." Months passed. Slowly, things began to improve. Michael landed a steady job. It wasn't perfect, but it was enough to bring stability back into his life. One evening, after work, he decided to visit that same diner again. As he walked in, the familiar warmth welcomed him back. Linda was there, just as before. She looked up and immediately recognized him. "Well, look who's back," she said with a smile. Michael laughed softly. "Yeah, I've been meaning to come back." He took a seat at the counter. This time, he ordered a full meal without hesitation. As he ate, he told Linda everything about the job, the struggles, and how her small act of kindness had stayed with him. "You probably don't remember," he said, "but that day meant a lot to me." Linda listened quietly, her eyes soft. "Oh, I remember," she said. "But you know, kindness has a funny way of coming back around." Michael nodded. After finishing his meal, he walked up to the register. "I'd like to pay for someone else's meal," he said. Linda smiled knowingly. "Of course you do." He left enough money to cover several meals. As he stepped outside, he noticed a young man walking toward the diner, tired, worried, just like he had been months ago. Michael paused for a moment, then smiled. The circle was continuing. Kindness doesn't need to be loud. It doesn't need recognition, or reward, or even a reason. It's in the quiet moments, the small choices, the decision to care, even when life feels heavy, because you never know what someone is going through, and you never know how far your kindness might travel. Michael didn't just receive kindness that day, he became part of something bigger, a chain of compassion that moved from one person to another, quietly changing lives along the way. And the beautiful part? It never ends unless we let it. So the next time you have the chance to help someone, no matter how small it may seem, take it. Hold the door. Offer a smile. Listen. Help. Because somewhere, someone might be standing on the edge of a difficult day, just waiting for a reason to believe in goodness again. And maybe, just maybe, that reason could be you. Kindness is powerful. Kindness is contagious. And kindness always finds its way back. So let it begin with you.